Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Halloween is my favorite, absolute just favorite holiday. And I was in a space with Dana the other day, and well, we were doing poetry, and she was like, I just really don't like the way you guys can just write off a poem in like 5-10 minutes. So I wrote a poem in like 10 minutes, and it's a ode to Halloween. Basically, it's titled Nightmare. So to start today's show off, I'm going to read a villanelle. Demented demons dominate on dark dares, spirits and spooks, sirens searching silent seas. Never ending are these nail biting nightmares, cauterizing cantankerous cruel cares, placating poisonous pungent prayers and pleas. Demented demons dominate on dark dares, sinking as squandering secrets slowly scares those too timid to take on a temptress tease. Never ending are these nail biting nightmares. Fairy folk frighten children for fairy fairs, taking time to taunt the tributes owed to these. Demented demons dominate on dark dares, stinging, stalking, and scorching breath of sayers, angels angling as Adam's apples appease. Never ending are these nail biting nightmares. Goblins and gremlins gorge on side glancing glares, fear from flames forged from flickering, frightening flares. Demented demons dominate on dark dares. Never ending are these nail biting nightmares. And with that said, let me bring you a couple nail biting nightmares. Hello, T-Paw. How are you two this evening, this afternoon?
Hey!
I was about to say shit. I'm here. It's great. It's groovy. I'm here for it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here, chilling out. We got to listen to some awesome poetry right there. You said 10 minutes? It took you 10 minutes to write that?
Yes, it took me 10 minutes to write that. And there's no
Wow.
edits there. No edits. I haven't even edited it. I'm leaving it just as it is.
That's a nice one shot right there.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you.
So much imagery and like poetic, symmetry when it comes to the wording and like the phrasing and stuff, line by line. Like I was like listening to it and everything, and it made me think of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, it did. And honestly, I'm not the type of writer that knows how to rhyme. So again, for me, the fact that it did have that flow and that it was rhyming, I loved all of that. It was very, very visual.
Thank you. And speaking of some demented demons that dominate on dark dares, Elon Musk has bought Twitter. So Twitter has a new owner. And I know there's going to be a lot of people. This is a writing space. Why are you talking about Elon? So what? Elon's going to have an effect on all of us writing and our writing spaces. So let's see if it's for the good. There you go. And I'll leave that at that. I'd like to say a few words. Whether I don't care if you're on the left or on the right, it doesn't matter. Nancy Pelosi's home was broken into today. An assailant broke into the house and basically beat Paul Pelosi to a pulp. I don't have too much more on the story, but apparently Paul Pelosi is going to recover from it. Just so keep up on the news. I guess it was a homeless man. I've heard some different stories, but apparently a homeless man broke in and wanted Nancy Pelosi, was going to do harm to her. So I'll keep you guys updated probably on some other spaces later on. But now with that said, let's get on to the fun part of the show and leave all the demons to the side. All right. Kornelia, welcome back to the Vellum, parchment. We are writers. We have a lot of things that we talk about in relation to writing. T-Paw, awesome.
Hello.
Great works. Let me get those banners up. I have There we go. TPA and Kornelia. I got their information up there. Make sure you, if you don't follow them on Twitter, please do follow them on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever else they may be. Check out their books on Amazon. Basically, all you got to do is type in TPA Wolfric. All of his books are going to come up. Type in Kornelia Blackmore. All of her books are going to come up. I haven't bought one of yours yet, TPA. I'm getting there. I was just the other day, I was showing the new book on Twitter that I got. One of our authors that we all communicate with.
Oh, Diana.
Bishop got the Gospel of the Witch. So I'm excited. Yeah, look at that. Look at
Yes.
yes. Gospel of the Witch. I am so excited.
Yes.
And of course, Diana, she's my Twitter crush. So I mean, of course, she's half the people's Twitter crush.
Isn't it kind of cool? You pull up the book and like all I have to do is see like the beginnings of the cover and like see the lettering on it, and I'm like, oh, that's Diana. Like,
yep,
that's
I already knew that was Diana's book too.
Yes.
Because I own it on my Kindle, and it always pops up whenever I'm opening up the app and everything to read it and stuff. Yeah, some good writing in there. And I also want to give a shout out to Kornelia here for when he was talking about following Kornelia on Twitter. See, I'm a memer. Like I like to meme stuff, or I'll try to keep people updated on my writing progress, things like that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm funny, sometimes I'm not. But Kornelia has got a lot of uplifting spirituality posts. Mm-hmm. She apologizes a lot and says sorry if I'm ranting or whatever, but it's not even a rant. It's more like a super passionate like word spell where like she just like types out a bunch on the tweets and stuff, and she talks about like empowerment and life improvement and what the spirits are telling her. Like very empowering person. So definitely follow her. If you like seeing memes, if you like seeing the average author doing tweets and stuff, that's me. I don't tend to go on a sandbar like a sound bar and be like life improvement, life empowerment, because I'm just like live and let live. But like Kornelia has a lot of really good advice. I'll tell people if they ask me, but like I went through a time where like my early 20s I was more like Kornelia in that respect, and then I got yelled at a lot, so I just was like, I'm gonna be the memer now. I'm gonna be the jokester and like never take anything seriously on the internet.
Yeah.
So, and I do want to comment on the Pelosi thing though.
Yeah.
How the heck does someone with that much power still get a break-in? Like that shocks me.
All right. Well, I'll keep it brief and all that. Nancy Pelosi herself has Secret Service. Okay. Her husband does not. Now they do have a in-home security system, which that system is why the police got there as rapidly as they did. Because without that security system, Paul Pelosi probably wouldn't be with us today.
Yeah, like the reason why I'm asking is because it's like I know that you are trying to address the people that are going to come with pitchforks and be like politics. For me, it's a human being. Like it's a human being in their house, being having someone break into their house. They allegedly have top-notch benefits, being the fact that his wife works in the with the government and everything like that. So you would think unless they live separately, that would be hard to do. I don't know. Just the thought that was in my head. I was like, we're all writers here, so whenever I'm thinking, of like systems or thinking of ways to, be like, what if someone broke in? Well, the average Joe is usually what I end up writing, not like some big top government official person. And so like, so when it comes to that, I'm like, going, average Joe person wouldn't have that good of security unless they were Daredevil or something like that. Well, but like Pelosi, like. I would think that like weird ninjas would come out of nowhere.
No, and trust me, when she's at home, the Secret Service are there, but she wasn't at home. She was in D.C. And they do have a very good security system. That's why the police were able to get there right away.
The dragon took a nap.
And not that I'm a politician, but I myself, who have written a political book, I get death threats, and I've had people come up on my property and stuff like that. One of the reasons why I moved, so I have security. I don't have security people walking around, but I do have a security system in play. So very, very scary.
That's how I'm having the smart ass commentary, and there Cornelia is with the cute cat ears, and she's just waving and smiling, waving while we're talking about
I know.
this.
Listen, like I said, this is what. Listen, I mean, that's part of what modeling is. You have to just learn to keep moving. So, like, it's just a habit that I have. Like when I'm on camera, even if it's like a stupid, goofy ass face, like I can't, because listen, I've watched. Okay, like I've watched certain talk shows and stuff. Right, like I've watched certain talk shows and stuff where they're kind of just like sitting there, and then I'm like paying attention to their faces, and I'm like, damn, they're not making any type of facial expressions. And to me, like, I saw one that looked kind of stupid. So I was like, if I'm gonna look stupid just sitting still, I might as well just make some random ass facial expression, to which I know at some point, please, I figured someone's gonna make me move my faces at this point.
Yes.
Hey,
Hi,
it's gonna happen.
I wanted to say hi.
Hello, guys.
She said hi, and then Tiana, hello.
Hope you guys are doing great this afternoon.
Yes,
Evening, afternoon.
And I know we
Time
got a little
zones.
off topic. I and all that.
I had to address it.
That's all right. We were talking about following us on Twitter and all that. And, follow Kornelia. You're going to get a lot of good advice. You're going to get a lot of good knowledge in relation to writings and spirituality. TPA, the jokester. A lot of great memes. And you follow me on Twitter, you get a variety of a lot of things. 1 minute it's political, the next thing it's humor, next thing it's politics, it's writing, it's stoicism. So I kind of branch out all over the place. But that's what In the Moment is about. In the Moment is about bringing all of these different ideas and thoughts and ideologies together. So today it's writing. And with that, Kornelia, T-Paul, what is the writing topics of the day?
Okay. So this is actually a question that I recently got, or more of a request to talk about, because this is something that happens, if not to most writers or all, like it does happen to a lot of it, like a lot of writers in their creative process in general. Writer's block. I had someone ask me what would be the best way to kind of get past writer's block. So Teepaw, I wanted to ask you that question first, and then I'll go ahead and answer. And again, anyone that's watching the show, hi, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. If you have questions, please go ahead and just ask. Because again, I got a list, but I want this to be interactive. So go ahead, Teepaw.
Yeah. So writer's block. Everyone's process is different, of course, but my process, the way I tend to address it myself, is I will, because like I'm a guy who has 4 kids, and I have a very busy life outside of authoring, and so there's always this balance, this tug of pull of like day job, activities, all these other things that keep in the mix, going to the gym, everything like that. So for me, when I get blocked, it's usually due to stress. It's usually due to stress or due to feeling demotivated for whatever reason, whether that's like negative triggers, whether that's anything that's gone throughout your day, even like the minimal triggers like anxiety, things like that, negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts that go in your head, stuff that you yourself love to tweet about and stuff like that. And I don't typically do that myself, because like if I do it would sound like an endless soundboard, and like then I would end up mixing in the 12 backs with that somehow, and then other stuff like that. So, and it also would sound like an ADHD ADD mix track. But like basically with it, writer's block for me, I go to the source in my head of like what inspired this idea in the first place. Like whatever project you're working on, what inspired it? Is it a horror story? Is it a lovey story? Is it a actiony fighty story? Is it a drama? Is it a romance? Is it erotic and sexy? Like, is it like all these little things that are going through your head, like tones and flavors? And so when it comes to writer's block, I go to the source and be like, okay, well, what inspired that idea? Well, what emotion was being felt when you were writing that? And then you basically figure out how to help that character like transmit that in the story. Because when you're writing them in the story, you're basically talking for them. Like you're letting them tell you the story of what their life is. And that's a lot of what 12 acts is figuring out who's telling the story and let them talk to you. Like they're fictional characters. They're made up people in your head, but let them talk to you, because there's a part of you inside that is trying to figure out something, and that's why you're writing it in the first place. Like, for instance, me, I'm dealing with 4 kids. I'm dealing with job that just like most of Americans hate. You know, I'm dealing with it. I'm going to work. I'm clocking out, that sort of thing, doing all the things that I need to do. But there's like this feeling of entrapment, and this like there's this like question of identity that is being asked whenever you're doing their day-to-day stuff, because it's like, am I dad? Am I husband? Am I average worker? Am I, you know, whatever? Who am I? Like, that's the identity. And so when you're writing a story like Trinity's, for instance, in Storms of Blood, the question is, am I a bad guy or am I a good guy? Am I what everyone's telling me I am, or am I me? Am I allowed to be me? And so a lot of us can identify with that because of the fact that a lot of us deal with that on a daily basis. Like, you know, you have that tug of war of identity. And so depending on the story you're telling, whether it's a whodunit, whether it's a, you know, whatever, or even if it's poetry, like, be like, okay, because there are sometimes I'll write poetry because it's like 4 lines popped up in my head. I start writing it down and it turns into 30. And like, and then something I'm rhyming and I'm doing juxtaposition and I'm doing like imagery and stuff like that. So when it comes to any type of writer's block, visit the source of what gave you the idea in the first place. Explore the emotions that are embroiled in that. Don't be afraid of it, because part of what causes block is you're afraid. You're terrified. You're like, I don't want to face that part of me. I don't want to face whatever it is that's blocking me. Like, it's stressful. That's negative. That's, you know, bad energy. And so you don't want to visit it. Instead, tackle it. Visit it. Figure out what it is. That's what you're writing about in the first place. So that's kind of what I'd say, you know, overall, just to try and sum it up.
Honestly, I think that's an amazing answer, because I would have never thought to have revisited the purpose of the story, or the theme is basically what I think you are referring to. That's not something I would have thought of. For me, I've only experienced writer's block once. And I mean, I've written every day for at least 3 years, and I did that out of habit. I did specific writing exercises with myself. I engaged in writing activities with other writers to kind of just keep me in the habit. But the only time that I experienced a block was during a very traumatic period of my life. Both of you know which part I'm referring to. But it was during that time that it was very challenging for me to get past that block. So for me, and in my experience, sometimes it has to do with unresolved, you know, things or emotions as things are taking place, or as life is progressing. Again, not, you know, being unwilling to transmute that negativity or whatever it is that we're using our writing for, if that is what we're writing for. So again, could be personal things. The other that I've come to find out in a way is lack of experience. What I mean when I say that is, when we write or craft certain stories, even if they're not our experiences, we're still interpreting our experiences and others and writing it down. Or we are taking things from our perception and writing it down. So in the act of doing that, the more experience that we have, the easier it is to kind of translate that with the stories that we craft and create. Now, the other reason, like, if we're ignoring our self-care, if we're ignoring the experiences that make storytelling as rich and as beautiful as it is, if we're not allowing our bodies to rest, to really decipher and be in the present moment, hence the name of the show, In the Moment. If we're not in the present moment, then we are robbing ourselves of the beauty of the human experience. So the other option, I say, would be to take a break, you know, get rid of the guilt that comes with not being able to sit down and write, or, you know, whatever guilt that gets attached to, oh my God, you know, I have so much life stuff that I'm doing, but the life stuff that you're doing is important. I actually had a spiritual teacher, you guys know who I'm talking about, Shadow Fox. She recently gifted me a word called busy work. And busy work, even in creating, is a form of creating. And that's just how I choose to look at it. So again, even during that traumatic experience, that's experiences that I can still use and put in storytelling. So again, option one, push through it, write. Second option, take a break. And
yep. Yeah. And I love that answer you gave, because there was a couple things you said in there that made me think
Mhm.
of a couple things. Like, for instance, I during 2019, I dealt with trauma. I dealt with my mom dying, and during that time period, I couldn't write at all. Like, I would try, and I would like get like maybe 2, 3 pages, and the problem was is because like 2 years before then, mom had become part of the process. Like, I would sit there, and after our puppy passed away, I would be sitting there writing out whatever it was that was in the story. The character was grieving, something in the story, probably something that came from my head. And later on, after she passed away, it was hard for me to work through that, because the fact that she'd become part of the process, she'd been part of the
Mhm.
venting experience, that, as you called it, the human experience. And so I had to figure out a way to write after that and go, okay, well, can I still do this? Am I still capable of writing something? And for some reason, after like, I think it was like 3 to 6 months, um, I started writing again, like trying it again, because I took a like I started was I was like, there was a few days of the week where I was trying to write on the keyboard, and then like it was like not coming out the way it was supposed to. So I was like, okay, shelving it for right now, and then like spent like 6 months just trying to work through my emotions, and then finally like 6 months later, for some reason I don't remember, it was I was watching a movie or I was watching a show of some kind, but it was probably, as you keep talking about on Twitter about the universe talking to you. I was probably gotten a message from the universe, and it was something that I didn't hear, but I acknowledged psychologically, probably subconsciously, and I ended up writing, and it came out like a furious storm. It was like it was like 6 months of not writing started just feverishly flowing out of me. It was like this giant current of power, and so um, talking about the human experience, talking about being in the moment, talking about dealing with writer's block, dealing with burnout, which is really what that is. It's burnout because you're feeling overwhelmed by the exhaustion of the moment, but you're needing to recover, and then you're needing to get back into it. And so, I thematic structure, which is what I was talking about before, which I didn't say
Mhm.
that before, but
Mhm.
thematic structure, which is part of the identity. Your theme could be anything, as long as it's like uh, a singular notion idea, while
Mhm.
there's a question at the end of like,
Okay.
who am I? Or one of the things you could be like is, can I heal from this trauma, or will this person in the story heal from this trauma and not become it? And
Mhm.
that could be part of the conflict too, because their conflict could be that they're going to become the thing that they hate. So
Mhm.
that was something that fed into the experience.
Mhm. I listen, I actually appreciated again that clarification about theme. I There are certain stories, and I vaguely talk about it. You guys only know of one story that I've written for 3 years, but there's a couple others that I do not and have not shared, just because of the heavy themes that I am covering, or the heavy discussions that I'm having within these respective novels. When I'm ready to share them, I will. But again, the rest is figuring out the theme. What is it that I want to say? Uh, Again, just an example. One of them is Sharp Midnight. The concept is religion versus faith or spirituality. I actually kind of go into it as the institution of religion, to which again I have my own personal views about that, as as well as like faith and spirituality and all of that. Oh yay, and I gave us a question. I don't know, did you guys hear that?
Woo!
Is that me? Did you
I
guys hear
didn't.
that?
I don't see any of the questions myself. Do you prefer character led plots or story led plots?
Character.
Mix of both. Like, the story is stemmed from the characters anyway, and so if you're letting your characters direct the narrative just a bit, but then you're guiding them to the finish line of answering the question that you asked at the very beginning, which was a start at the plot in the first place, then you got to mix and match of both.
Hmm. You know what I was gonna say? I prefer. All right. I feel like it depends on the type of story that needs to be told. Okay.
Yes.
The reason I say that is because the Black Dragon Princess, I spent years trying to figure out what POV should I write this in. Should I write it in first? Should I write it in second? Should I write it in third? I literally wrote multiple drafts in third person, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. The point is to build culture. The point is to have it be through the lens of the person, to build that culture and to build the world that way. So when I tell you it took years to figure that out, then I decided that character based makes more sense because I'm building the world in a different way. Whereas another story would work better as third person. So, like The Rippling of Waves, which is another one that I'm publishing or have published on Kindle Vella. That one is third person because it is more plot focused versus character driven. So I feel like it just depends on what the story is and how it needs to be told. So I feel like a bit of both. But me personally, I will always prefer character driven. Always. Always, always,
Yeah,
always.
that's kind of my thing is like the story part of it, like the plot driven or the story driven or the world driven, feeds into the character driven. But at the end of the day, like I am primarily character driven myself. Like over half of my stories have a wide array of characters, and most of the time, any of the character beats or any of the plot twists that are involved are all character driven. Like they're not even like story driven. Like I have to feed into who this character is and where they're going, and I have to connect to them emotionally for me to be able to tell the story properly. Because if I don't connect to the emotion, then the reader sure as hell isn't. Because they're gonna be like, "Oh, you just wrote a story." So, like, yeah. And by the way, the 12. Remember, I was I've talked to you over and over again about the 12-act structure before.
I was gonna say yes, and I really wanted to know because I meant to ask you that anyway.
Yeah, so basically the 12-act structure is the 3-act structure broken up into 12 parts, which is what I've
Okay.
said before. You know how like the first act is usually introduction to characters, beginning of world, the inciting incident, all that stuff. The 12 acts, the first like 4 acts of that, which is essentially the first act, it's just a more intensive version of it. Um, First act is technically power of the villain or hand of the villain, whether that's us figuring out who the characters are and then seeing a bloody handprint on the wall or seeing a knife at the beginning. It's some hint of the ominous presence. Like, or if you are having, for instance, in uh, my story, Snake and the Dame, uh, we hear name drops of Murdrin, the character, and the characters are talking about it. And Peter is learning that he has a talking sword and learning about his inheritance. And you will find out that Abraxan, one of the major bad guys, is tied to the inheritance somehow. And so you get like this feeling of the power of the villain. Even in the coffee pot story, which was in my original rendition of the Snake of the Dame story, you still get told by Hunter and a few of the other characters, you get told that they're hunting a character named Abraxan. And you're getting even being shown through their reactions of what that means. And then the next chapter, which is the Hand of the Villain repeated, but it's technically the beginnings of the second act, is technically Peter meeting Abraxan for the first time in person. First, he was told about it, then he's meeting him. And so I won't go into the whole story, but like basically the 12 acts is 3 acts broken up into 12 parts. So you get the hand of the villain, you get your introduction of family friends, and you get either your positive side or your negative side first. Usually in a story, you run into the bad side first because you get shown just how broken home they are. You get shown just how much of an asshole the dad is, or how much the uncle is, or you get shown the positive side in some of the more uplifting stories where they're having dinner together, or they're going to some store together and they're having fun, or the kids are if it's a young adult story, depending on what story it is. And then in the third act, same thing, except for it's flipped. It's 2 different sides of the family. And then in the fourth act, that's where you get your open of world. And basically it's the first 4 acts, which is the three acts broken up into 12. And then you have there's a act 9, actually jumping ahead a little bit, because in act 9 is bottom of the barrel. So that means that it's when your heroes at their lowest, and they're literally questioning their existence. The question that is asked, underneath the narrative by the writer, the person that's writing the story, that is tackled in that bottom of the barrel, because that is shown after the first fight that the hero faces with the villain, and the villain is being shown to be really strong. So it's that power of the villain again from the very beginning. And so the whole point of the story, the whole point of the 12 acts is to help answer that question that gets asked at the very beginning. But it's a far more intense. It's kind of like, you ever seen The Matrix? You remember The Matrix?
Oh yes.
Yes.
12 acts is embedded in the text in that. It's basically commercial art. It's art commercially to tell a story. And it's the 12-act structure broken up. And so you notice how Neo tells Trinity and tells two of the characters, no, I'm not going to take the pill at the beginning.
Yeah.
It tells them that 3 times. They technically are supposed to say no to fate 3 times, or 2 or 3 times, or maybe once or twice in the beginning of the story. They're supposed to reject their destiny at the beginning. Like, that's part of the formula. Now you can invert it to where they're pursuing it, but the person that they're pursuing it, they have to be told no 2 to 3 times. It's flipped. They can't just be given it, because if they're given it, then there's no tension and the story's boring.
Yes.
But if they're pursuing it, they have to be told no a couple times, and it has to be a fight to get to that thing. But then they find out that thing that they're trying to pursue isn't the answer. It's just the next step. And so that's part of the 12-act structure. They don't want to spend like the whole hour talking about it.
I was gonna say, you thought I was kidding. I was taking notes. You see this? I was seriously taking notes. I wasn't kidding with you. I was not. Listen, because here I was implementing these things, not knowing that okay.
Yes.
Confession. I took a creative writing course to which they taught me the basics of storytelling, but that was it. I failed that course, but I do remember the overall structure. I think it's like, was it like a fucking triangle or some shit? You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like that was what I went by. So like I was going off of like basic ass knowledge and just picking the shit up as I moved along. See, all right. Again, other confession. I already know at some point someone's going to ask me, what books have you read or what inspired you, to, or who is your writing style like? I'm going to tell y'all something right now. I have not picked up a book in about 11 years. I just recently started writing or like reading other people's work, but it's not like well-named authors. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I know the names of indie authors that I read whose work I love and enjoy. But if you're gonna ask me for somebody that's big name, I don't know. I can't tell you. We're not there yet. But that's the other reason I'm learning structure now, because I understand the importance of it. Which, hi, T-Paul, that was why I gave you my freaking long ass to-do list. I just gave you a list of like all my projects, and it's like, help.
Yeah, structure is something I have to have. Like, I have to have structure, and I know how to implement it, and I just don't shoehorn it. Like, I don't like, you have to do it this way. Like, I go, okay, well, what works for this person? And so it's the same thing with the characters. It's like, what works for this character in the story? And like with Sam, for instance, one of my other characters, she's psychological. So everything that is in her story is not action driven. Like, yeah, there's going to be action beats. Yeah, there's going to be some fight stuff because, she's surrounded by Violet, Trinity, Peter, all these other characters that do have some of those elements. But in every one of the characters, their story is going to be driven differently based on their personality and who they are as characters. So I don't apply the same formula that I would apply to Peter, that I would do to Trinity, or that I would do to Sam. Like, Violet, very physical character, wants to be a gangbanger, and his dad gets involved with a demon, and it's a tragic story. It's a drama. It's more of a horror noiristic drama because you've got crime, and it's more superheroistic compared to like Orion's story or Peter's, where Peter's is if you called it a car chase without a car, it could be that, because it's literally Abraxan chasing him down and trying to, but he's playing with his food. And then you got Trinity, who is very psychological. So you've got Elm Street nods, you've got Carrie nods, you've got a bit of Hellraiser, just a bit, because Murdred straight up is, channeling some, fucking Pinhead vibes. You've got like all these other different like little flavors in there, but every character is different. And so with Carmina, for instance, the lover storyline, what I like that you do with her story, and this is something I've pointed out in our PMs or private interactions, the thing I like that you do with hers is you do a mix of both. you've got the psychological aspects between her and Arlo, and then you've got her tragedy from her backstory that happened, and then you've got the fighting, you've got the action stuff, because she has to become queen one day. And so you has to decide what monarch she's going to be, whether she's going to be diplomatic and very like cruel but kind, or whether she's got to be diplomatic but nice and probably fails a lot because because it's hard to be. There's a favorite quote I got from Game of Thrones years ago. It is hard to be a good king and a good man because you can't rule great and be a good person at the same. It's hard because that means you have to be listening to all your voices throughout the kingdom and then not doing terrible things, not having to make horrible hard calls, not doing tax trade and all the stuff that bores every person that cares about entertainment. Monarchy is not pretty, and that's going to be something I'm exploring in my own series because Peter eventually has to become king. And the question is, with Trinity and Virima, our two girl characters in the story, they're narrators, their bloodline actually ties to Sam's because of the fact that they are technically descendants of someone who helped start Sky in the first place, which is the kingdom that Sam's from. And so you've got some of those flavors dancing in there. And one of the things I did in one of the chapters was there's a line that I borrowed from Game of Thrones. It was not the same line, but it's where Leon talks to Peter about what it's like to be king. And every time he comes in the scene and he's come back from court or he's come back from work, he's exhausted. He's stressed. He's tired. Like I never want to come out where he's like, "Oh yeah, let's all throw parties and stuff," because we're not King Robert. We're trying to be a just king, but at the same time, do what we need to do and then go home. And sometimes you have to do, as quoting, I just read the chapter of the kids the other day. Ollivander, great, terrible, but great things. And so, that sort of thing. What's some of your thoughts about what I've talked about so far, Cornelia? Because I kind of went on a tangent.
No, it's fine. Listen, we both have an amazing way of going on a tangent, and that's awesome. I appreciate that. No, I do. I appreciate that because then it's not just me, and I don't feel as bad. But just basing it off of my, prior reincarnated memories. Now, I do want to throw disclosure to the wind. I don't remember all of it. I only remember bits and pieces. And with the bits and pieces that I do remember, that statement is absolutely correct. Because when I was in that role, or at least in that realm of power, I do remember that I had to be just as ruthless, if not more, because I was a woman and had at a huge disadvantage. Now, granted, there was a time where women had more rights and, had equality. That was what it was before. Whereas now the shit is just so warped and upside down. That part of my brain that's like here, or like that remember shit is like here. And they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? So it was just my way of saying, like, I agree with you. And just based off of my own experiences in this way, which is the other reason why crafting the Black Dragon Princess is taking me as long as it is, because some of it is based off of my own memories and what I do remember. So, hi, I'm talking about war. Why the hell do I know? I shouldn't know certain smells. I shouldn't know certain things. And like I said, even when I have this types of discussion with people, they're like, there's no way that that's true. You know what? That's cool. It's not up to me to prove or to disprove it. But I'm just speaking, on my experiences. And the best way I can share those experiences is in storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I actually like that I've been able to learn from you, actually, is the fact of how that is to have spiritual guides, to have to be so in tune with that, because the character Trinity that I'm talking about, she has a version of that with her. Like, she's listening to Trinitas, this voice from the past, and she's hearing her commentary. And when I'm writing Trinitas's dialogue, it's that of someone who like sounds like they've been around for a while, but at the same time is like still got that young quality to them, very motherly almost, and like she's got like that tone of like, oh, you stupid teenager, but at the same time like she's very like nurturing, and you're never sure of what field she's playing, whether she's good guy or a bad guy, and she's kind of become her own character in the story. But like, do we have any questions, by the way, for people, or are we just yammering?
I was going to say, I feel like we're yammering at this point, but I actually did have a random question for you because someone did ask me this too. Someone asked me, what character in your novel would you play if this were like a movie or like a TV production, and why?
What role do I play?
Yes, like which of your characters would you play? So like, for example, if I, was playing a character, out of the stories that I wrote in the Black Dragon Princess, I would cast myself as Queen Arya, but that's if Diana, that's if Diana rejects the role. But I'm just saying, my character with where I am right now resonates with Queen Arya and her personal values and the things that she's trying to teach Carmina. Whereas years ago, I would have wanted to play Carmina, but now I've realized that that's not the struggle that I'm in anymore. So, yeah, that was why I asked, out of curiosity.
All right. If I had to play a character, then I'd probably, I don't know, maybe I would play the devil character. Maybe I'd play Beelzebub. Like maybe I'd play Peter's grandfather, who's like making deals, embezzling in the background, juggling souls, watching as, these big power-hungry people are doing everything. And he's like, I don't think that's what my dad intended for the universe, but this is fun. And like, just like being in the middle of chaos, just this perfectly chaotic, neutral character who's just like, if you do bad or great things, then people expect that of you because you're technically the devil. But if you do great, good things and help people, people be like, well, that was a plot twist. And so you're always kind of keeping people on their toes. It'd be a fun character to play.
I also am throwing this out there too because the Black Dragon Princess, I'm already manifesting it. Idris Elba is playing Arlo. So I just wanted to throw that announcement out there, for just so you guys know. And yes, I'm going to play at some point as one random scene as a servant where he's, just sauntering in the bath. And I'm like, this man is a god. It's going to be a great scene. Can I tell you how much fun I have writing the in-between scenes? Which, by the way, this is just me sharing another random part of my process. I will actually go in knowing that the scene is going to be deleted, and I'm writing it that way. That's the other reason I recently had a reader make the suggestion to me where she was like, you should release a special edition version of the Black Dragon Princess that has all the deleted scenes that I had written in the respective timeline. But guess what? That calls for the one thing that I don't have in my writing process, and that structure and timelines and all the shit I don't give a fuck about. I'm just being honest. Like, it is the one thing I don't give a shit about.
The thing I absolutely have to have. Because otherwise I do run into giant pit holes.
Right, because they're not even plot holes, they're pit holes. I know. I see, because the one reader that actually is like on my ass about getting the Black Dragon Princess done, I promise you, she's the one that'll bring it to my attention and be like, listen, ma'am, you fucked up. There's a plot hole here. And I'm like, why wait for a reader to tell me this is not good? I'm not trying to do that.
Random Brand says, I always for some reason thought you would play Carmina. Maybe you said it before.
See, that's the thing. Years ago, I probably would have. But now, no. My character is definitely much more like Queen Arya, which, God, her fucking story is tragic. Also, has anyone ever released a prequel after writing book 1 and 2? How would that even work? You have done that? Okay.
That's what I'm doing right now. It's Callous to War. and Spirit Destiny are an omnibus technically that I pulled out of print because I'm doing a new version of it. But Night Terror Rising is technically originally supposed to be one big book that I decided to split up into 5 parts and have every character narrate the story. So technically, that's me. I'm that person. I'm that guy.
I'm so
I am the
sorry.
organized agent of chaos.
I'm so sorry. I had to do it. I had to just flip the thing back on. My derp.
Did you like fall or something? Like, are you okay?
No, it's just when I smoke, I get all this mucus, and it's not cute. It's not cute. I'm trying to be cute.
Trying to be you have to try to be cute. They just came naturally.
There's no trying there. No trying needed.
Oh shit. How are the people in the comments doing, by the way? And how are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Right before I just like man,
This is a reminiscence of when Luke and Cornelia got together. I just stepped back and listened.
We need to do next is have all 4 of us together with Paul hanging out with us and just like
goodness.
organized chaos just everywhere.
I was
Ohio isn't real.
But wait, who gonna organize what? Because it's not gonna be me.
If we brought Luke in,
Where'd he go?
I would just have Luke up there. That's what I would do. I would remove myself from the picture, and it would just be you 3 going at it. And I would be sitting back just laughing my ass off.
Demonstrating what you're gonna do. Okay, that's fair, sir. That's what happened. I was like, what happened? Where'd he go?
You know, it's totally fine. It's not like it's fine. At some point next year, I'm going to release a horror novel. I think I've shared this with you. TP, I'm serious about that collab with us.
Yes. With demonic possessed sex dolls.
Yes. Okay.
What?
Wait a minute.
I heard that right. What was that again? Please say that again.
Wait,
Demonic possessed sex dolls.
Okay, I heard it right.
Yes, you did. All right. I have to explain the story properly as far as where this idea came from. So I rolled up in a Twitter space, and at some point they were talking about sex dolls, right? And everybody was like being all serious about it. And here I go. I raised my hand. I'm like, that shit is scary to me. So I'm gonna just write a horror novel, like as a possessed sex doll, to which I proposed the idea to T-Paw. And I was like, I'm going to write it from the sex doll's POV and have it be like as if this is an actual person. Plot twist.
Yep.
And then
at some point in the space, someone else made a comment about a movie Teeth, where vaginas with teeth, and so then we ended up like spinning that into the story somehow.
Yep.
And they're like gonna have it to where one of the victims gets their dick bit off.
Isn't there already a horror movie out there that does that?
We're gonna take a spin on it.
Okay, I gotta Google this shit.
Yeah, there's a movie called Teeth.
Oh my god, that collaboration.
At some point in the movie, she's getting all intimate with this guy, and you find out the guy basically talked to his buddy on the phone and found out that they made a bet because she's the city virgin. She doesn't want to have premarital sex, and learns that her vagina has teeth. And so during the interaction, he loses his nethers, and
Teeth. A 2007 film starring Jess Wexler. Yeah. Okay.
She eventually embraces her role as the vagina teeth eater or dick eater.
Jesus Christ. What? Who funded that?
I don't know. It was entertaining. And I'm gonna give like Kornelia all sorts of different nightmare fuels.
Listen, Phoenix has already come up with the idea of Kornelia being a goddamn serial killer.
Oh shit! What if one of the characters is named Kornelia?
Kornelia.
Son of a bitch basket.
Like,
God damn it, T-Paul.
To be the character that goes on a rivalry with the sex doll.
Oh great, I'll just be the rival of the sex doll. I'll just be the bitch that don't like it and want to burn her. That's fine too.
Well, and if you're gonna have a sex doll that's possessed, you might as well possess like the fleshlight also.
And then they spend like part of the story going on a spree together, and then they become a team.
Now that shit I support.
Oh my goodness.
It's the partnership. I respect the partnership.
And there's a scene in the story where like near the end you just see a pile of nethers, a pile of flesh, and it's all the victims.
I saw a TikTok where someone said that everyone should buy like a blow-up doll and they should just like release them all at the same time so that people think that they missed the rapture.
Wow. I wonder how the comment section is doing. I wonder if they're freaking out or if they're like, what the fuck just happened?
It's brilliant, I say. Brilliant.
Hey, if they can make a movie like Teeth, and I'm sure somebody had to write that first. And can you just imagine being the person that is getting ready to put funds into creating a movie, and you're reading the plot line, and it's just like, wait, are you telling me the vagina has teeth? Okay, I'll go with it. Let's see.
The girl in the movie, by the way, she goes to visit the OB because she thinks that her woman, she's confused about her woman lady bits. The guy gets a little frisky because he's not being a ethical OBGYN, and he loses his fingers.
Oh, Jesus.
Me and my brother-in-law were reviewing that movie on Crazy
Only
Peas.
on the Vellum.
Did you just do spirit fingers?
Yes.
Why are you like this? Why are you like this?
Cornelia, a string of laughter emojis followed by dead.
Good God, why? I had questions.
Now, was that movie Teeth done in first person or third person?
Oh, son of a bitch. I would read it if it was written in first person. I would read it. Sit down, your jazz hands.
Can you imagine like the sensations as the teeth are biting into the flesh, and like, and then like the smell after it falls.
Oh my goodness.
Why are we like this?
I did mention an agent of chaos, did I not?
You know, you did mention the chaos, but I already got enough chaos that happens up in the brain, okay? Especially with the shit that I'm not supposed to remember. And then hear your ass come along talking about, hi, I am just as insane. I'm like, This is not a good thing. This is a very dangerous thing. You cannot get me, you, and Luke in the same goddamn room because havoc will be had. Okay, no. Somebody gotta be the voice of reason in this motherfucker. All right.
But Ohio isn't real.
You know what though? Because Ohio was not real, I actually thought about moving to Ohio because if it's technically like an abyss and it doesn't exist, and I don't want to be bothered. Sounds like a good writing spot to me.
And then there'll be the sex dolls with teeth.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
People will be like, what the fuck was this? You guys were all serious at the beginning and all like official, then it just sort of just spun into a weird chasm of chaos.
I'm glad I'm not Jay that made a bet about being serious for a whole month. Somebody
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't be able to do it at all.
Neither can I.
Hold on while I find my stick to shove in my ass.
Luke in here. Imagine if we had Jay in here, or Anaya in here, or Marnie in here. I mean, it would just, oh my God, it would just be.
It'd be like the Spaces all over again.
Oh, off the hook.
Half the time it's deathly quiet with someone like whispering things, and then half the time it's like all like chaotic and crazy. And then you have what's this? Because I was trying to bring him on before, but that would be funny if Kornelia, me, and Dagal gotten.
Oh my goodness!
She's going no. She's like no.
You two, Daigle and Luke. There we go. There's like the ultimate foursome right there. We could run a 3-hour show and people would just be glued.
Tickets would sell like crazy.
I mean, Daigle was the one that came up with the whole Kornelia Nelia having it be a children's book first.
Yep.
That was all Daigle's idea. He was the one. Listen, assigned roles. Well, I was gonna say Ed is the one that just shows up out of nowhere. Now, mind you, Kornelia Nelia in the child version of this book, the children's version, I am kind of like Debo on Friday, where I just roll up on the playground, see somebody bullying another kid, and then I'm beating their ass. Daigle's the one that's on the sidelines that's like, yeah, do that, like rooting for me the entire time. And then T-Paul is the one that's taking the incident report. Ed just shows up out of nowhere because he missed the whole goddamn thing, because he misses everything.
Are you sure I didn't incite the incident in the first place? And then just documents it for evidence?
There's that. You would probably do that. And Anaya just shows up with snacks and just watches the entire thing. Like as if
she's just carrying a bag of chips and she's just like,
yep, big old bag of snacks. And she does not share. She does not share snacks. Anaya will not share snacks. She's very violent when it comes to her snacks.
Oh my goodness.
Paul, you doing okay over there? I'm going to check it again. The comments seem kind of dead. I wonder if everybody ran away.
Right.
We did go down from like 10 people to 6. So, and I don't know. I don't know what we have on Twitch.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 views is. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I think so.
Oh, we do get a lot of replays though. So I mean,
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's where the meat is anyway.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, for only having 150 subscribers to the show, we do very, very well. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We do very, very well.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, I actually got told when I did an interview with a couple people about a year ago. I did a little pod. It was like a little audio driven one, and the guy told me that that the interview was listened to in like 8 different countries, like listened to and downloaded at least over 600 times, and like the metrics were really good. He said he's like really good metrics for you and stuff, and I'm like, for nobody, awesome.
Yeah.
For an average Joe who just makes jokes and stuff, but then like takes himself serious, enough seriousness to be like 12x structure.
Right.
and then it's just like, by the way, vaginas with teeth.
Well, this is a very, very difficult platform based upon the algorithm to, gather a large audience. One of the things I'm looking forward to with Elon buying Twitter, I watch a lot of financial things on YouTube.
I like that guy, actually. I like Elon. He's very technologically sound. Like, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to technology. Like, there was an hour-and-a-half interview I listened to with him. And, viewpoints aside of what people think of the guy, he's very in love with technology and with the
Yes.
human experience and how that all coexists.
Right.
And so, like, people will have their thoughts on him as a person. That's up to them. But when I was listening to him talk, I was like, this guy's pretty smart.
Well, if we take him at his word at what he wants to do, and he actually goes through with it, Twitter could become like the platform to be on. There could be a lot of good things. He wants to take the current subscribers of like 220 million people on Twitter, and he wants to take that up to 1 billion. He wants to monetize it. So I think that, again, if people just, sit back for a minute and let's see how things roll. I think
he wants to monetize Twitter, or he wants to monetize something else.
He wants to monetize Twitter. He wants it monetized.
Oh.
He wants to bring in a lot more content creators, like what we're doing right here. He wants that to be a part of it. So I can see him actually putting up a video platform or a streaming platform or something like that. And quite frankly, if Twitter were to have a streaming platform like YouTube, I would probably use Twitter because I've got almost 8,000 followers on Twitter. I've only got
like Kornelia's got like 1 billion followers.
So I mean, we'll see how things go.
Like so is he going to try and turn? Do you think he's going to try and go sub base, like where you have to subscribe to Twitter, like and pay a monthly fee, or is it just going to be like where they're going to be added perks to it? Like how? That's interesting. That he wants to monetize it.
Well, let's say he does that. Let's say he charges a monthly fee of like $2 or $3. For that, there better be a number to where I can get customer service, and when I have complaints, I can make calls. And there's got to be benefits with that. And right now, Twitter doesn't have those benefits, so I don't see him doing anything like that in the near future, unless he can again make things that are more person friendly for people like you and I, on Twitter, to where if we want to know why we don't have a blue check, what do we need to do to get a blue check? Who can we talk to?
That'd be nice.
My Spaces isn't working right. I keep having problems. There's somebody I can call to come in and actually fix that and help out. So I mean, there's got to be improvements to what is being offered before he can, charge a fee. I don't see it anytime soon.
So
yeah, Kornelia, what are your thoughts on it?
So I actually pay, excuse me, I actually pay for Twitter Blue, which is basically like $3 a month, right? And it allows you to like post like longer videos, allows you to go back and edit certain tweets and stuff like that. It gives you the option to bookmark certain tweets in different folders. So for me, because Twitter is kind of like my business and it is a means that I use to make money, I do have the option for super follows as well, to which, granted, you have to have 10K followers to anyone that wants to know or is interested. But yeah, I pay for that subscription service. It works very well for me as far as like the content that I do post for the most part. And then I also have super follows. There's like a couple different ways that once you reach a certain follower account, you can make money on Twitter. Another one is ticketed spaces. So, which I think I had mentioned this as well, where if you host a space on Twitter, you can charge for people to, before they enter in the space itself, So that's another option or a means that I can make money. And again, there's also super follows as well, which is about what it can range anywhere from I think like $1 for a subscription, $5.99, $7.99, and then like $10.99. So again, it goes in tiers. But if you're once you pick that price, you can't deviate from that. So this is just again me sharing the experiences that I've had with being on Twitter and using it as a means to monetize the content and stuff that I post. There are still some things that I'm in the midst of figuring out, and I have to like go over certain like terms and policies and stuff, which by the way, if and when you do get monetized, because I already know this is going to happen for you guys anyway. So if and when you do get monetized, you cannot cash out until you make at least 50. Like your revenue has to be $50 in order for it USD, in order for it to be cashed out. So as of right now, I've made $3.38 on super follows. So, yay, thank you.
Spirit thing got for something that's more on point.
I was gonna say in jazz hands. So again, this is just my way of plugging me in. Please super follow me. It's $5.99 a month. For anyone that's interested in exclusive behind the scene contents about the stuff that I write, tarot card readings, deleted scenes, and more stirf, just private stirf.
Well, and it's important that people also know this because, quite frankly, I mean, we're all writers. We want to get paid for our work. We want to get paid for what we write. We want to get. We need to have people know who we are. Part of these platforms. This helps us connect with people, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be Twitch, whether it be Discord, YouTube. This is what connects us out there, connects us together, gets us out there, and lets people know who we are. And us as writers, we want to monetize that because we want people to buy our books. We want people to buy the things that we create. We're creators, and that's how it all ties in together. So Anaya had asked, why politics? Well, it's not so much that we want to get into the politics of Elon and why he bought Twitter and all that shit. It's more of what are we going to do to make sure that we can maintain monetization and not lose our platform? We all come together on spaces, and we all communicate and talk. There's some people that are afraid that he's going to take spaces away. He's not going to take spaces away.
God.
It's a huge engine. It's a huge monetizing, content creating engine for him to develop and hopefully make better. And like I said, all of us want to get known out there. All of us want to sell our product. I've got one book that I've written and I'm working on others and I'm hoping to get published here. Hopefully if I can get this one done by the end of the year and Jay is going to present it to his publisher, who knows, maybe I can have one or two more books here published within the next year, So, and again, I want to sell my books. I want people to buy my books. Well, here you go. Come on here, get to know us. This is what these platforms are for. Get to know us.
If I can add one more thing.
Yeah.
Just for anyone that is interested and what I want to announce, I have 2 different pen names for different genres that I'm going to write. I haven't set up, the accounts and stuff, but the first one is Zakaria Beale and the second one is Ocean James. To which I'm using these pen names to write different types of genres and stories, which I figured you guys can kind of tell like vaguely from the name because I can't write contemporary romance, which is all going to be under Zakaria Beale. And then the horrors and the mysteries and the suspense and all of that is going to be under Ocean James. So again, marketing and branding. But answer Knight's question really quickly about favorite marketing tactic. First off, Heffa, you are the better marketer than I am. First and foremost, you are the better marketer than I am. But I spent at least a year pre-marketing my book before it released. And I sold on release day at least 26 copies. So I've mainly used social media, never paid for advertisements, never paid for any of those things. I did all of the work myself. So like I did all of the marketing and all of that. So, connect, interact, network. It's always like your best bet. No one is going to want to buy a book from someone that they do not know. And that's the marketing tactic that I use. So just want to throw that out there. And answer that question really
I
quickly
don't
before we end the
know.
show.
I don't know what my favorite marketing tactic is because, like,
That one's mine.
I like just talking, and so I think this is a good way to do it, as well as like create like I think another thing I'm playing with is reading up passages of the stories, and then like letting TikTok do the dictation of like the words and stuff. That's something I'm going to be playing with too. But I'm coming up with different things to play with.
Yeah.
Yes, TikTok's another great platform. I love TikTok.
I don't like it. I don't like
You
it.
don't like it?
Mm-mm. I'm already losing brain cells by the day. I'd like to keep whatever brain cells that I have left, unless I decide to turn my brain off. Unless I'm in the mood to turn my brain off, then okay. But no thanks. It's not for me. It's not for me. That's fine.
You have
I
any
still have
other
one
questions that are in the comments at all, Paul?
No, I'm not seeing any other comments in there.
Yeah.
We had somebody and all that throw up undefined at Paul J. Sisler. Hello, if you need real, free,
Right.
and high quality service to increase your viewers, check
Mm,
stream details, do TCON, whatever, and all that. Yeah, we get those people to come
But
in. Yeah.
that is my favorite marketing tactic, which is the other reason why showing my face is much more personable. The things that I
Yes.
do with streaming, I want my readers and anyone that's in my potential audience to know like me. That's because I am my brand. So again, no one wants to buy a book from someone that they don't know or someone that they can't relate to.
Yeah.
That's fair, especially in our current
Mhm.
environment,
Yes.
Yes.
the digital environment.
Yes.
So I'm going to need to remember that because,
Mhm.
like, I'll post links and stuff nonstop, or I'll post this or that, but it doesn't seem to get too much traction there. So maybe I need to try an alternate tactic.
Yeah. Because readers ultimately want to get to know you. It's
Yeah.
not right. Like they want to get to know the author or the person that wrote it. And that's why asking questions through the lens of the story to get to know the author. Yeah, like I love those questions. So
Yeah. And what's great about TikTok is you can go on there and you can do like short little 2 and 3 minute reads from your book and stuff like
Mhm.
that, promote yourself,
Mhm.
So yeah. I like getting on here. I like coming out here, talking to people, people coming
I
on
like
with
these
some
too.
questions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Plus, hey, it's fun to interact with other human beings, so it's
Yeah.
part of the joy of doing this is the interaction.
This is the Simba, the cat that you guys have seen as my profile picture for a
Yes.
bit. This is the cat. This is Simba.
Oh.
He's not growling at me yet, which is kind of weird. Usually he goes, "Meow."
Oh.
Instead, I think he's being very lovey-dovey right now.
No.
That's why I was having him do a cat dance earlier, even though he hates that.
All right. Well, good show today. And
I was gonna be like, "How does everyone feel this afternoon?"
Right.
In the comments and everything. So usually, what I would do, like, if this was a live show or whatnot, like outside of just being a live video, I'd be like, "How's everyone doing this evening? You having a good time?"
yes,
Right.
yes,
Same.
yes. All right. Well, thank you for those that came in and watched us today. We appreciate it. And remember, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you.
And thank you, Cornelia, for being on here. Thank you for Paul for holding us together.
Yes.
And
Yes.
appreciate it. Appreciate everything.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Have a week.